Hello students, welcome to the third lecture from the chapter EMI and EMC. In the previous chapter, we have seen the concept of the EMI, that is electromagnetic interference, and EMC, electromagnetic compatibility. So in this same context, in this lecture, we are going to study some standards which are used with respect to EMI and EMC related to the equipment. So this is the index. We will have the introduction about this. Then what is the importance of the standards, types of the standards, another classification of the standards, what are the different organizations which are developing the standards. Some are national organizations, some are international organizations. So we will have we will go through the brief study of these things, and then finally we will actually go through different standards which are used worldwide for different for different aspects of the equipment. You are using different standards. So such standards are given there: ISO, IP, NEMA, CE, UL and IEC. These 5 standards we are basically going to study in this lecture. So let us start with the lecture. Okay. So we have seen EMI, electromagnetic interference, and electromagnetic compatibility. This is so what is EMI? It is unwanted signal which is going to affect the performance of the equipment, and EMC is electromagnetic compatibility. How the equipment under test can perform well in the presence of EMI, or it cannot produce the EMI above certain level. That is given as the electromagnetic compatibility. Okay, so for that, so we have seen EMI and EMC. So for checking how much is the performance of the equipment, we are carrying out different tests on the equipment. Okay, so what these tests are doing? They are checking the dominating interference for the said product. Okay, dominating interference means there are number of frequencies will be generated by the product. Out of that, which is the having higher amplitude. Say for example, for 150 hertz, there are harmonics generated. Harmonics are first harmonic, second harmonic, like that. So it's a multiple of 50 hertz, 100 hertz, 150 hertz. So if you go on multiplying 50 hertz by the number n, you are getting the higher order harmonics there. So the harmonic which is having the highest amplitude is called as dominating harmonic, or it is like dominating interference for the said product. So which frequency is having highest amplitude is called as dominating interference. Now what are the types of those interferences? There are two. One is EMI, electromagnetic interference, and second is RFI, radio frequency interference. Okay, so for this the tests are carried out. Now recommended EMI and EMC tests to be carried out on these products are, there are typical 4 tests are given there. One is the electrostatic discharge, second is the radiated EMI, third is conducted EMI, and fourth is magnetic fields. Okay, by radiation, if there is a electromagnetic interference, by means of some conducting wires, if there is a electromagnetic interference, then electrostatic discharge, that may be in case of that may be in terms of some pulses or spikes, and finally the magnetic field generated by the various equipment. Okay, so for that different tests are carried out. Then the third type of the test which is carried out is corresponding to the parameters, to measure the parameters for these EMI and EMC, like voltage, current, resistance, power supply, etc. So it is actually the ratio of the voltages, ratio of voltage and current, ratio of voltage and resistance, like that. So in this way, different tests are carried out. So first is which frequency is there. Second is what type of the EMI or electromagnetic interference is there. Third is how much is the parameter present there. So these are some ratios of different quantities are there, that is the corresponding test parameters to each step. So these are different tests carried out there. Okay, now how to measure these parameters, or how to measure the interference present with EMI? For that, you must need some, uh, you can say, some compatible value, or the one some standard value, you know, with which you can compare that I can tolerate this much, isn't it? I can tolerate this much. So for that you have to design some standards. You have to design some standards. Okay, like whenever you are going to use, say for example, you are going to manufacture a chair. So for the chair, what you will do, whenever you want to design the chair, you will decide the material based on how much weight you are going to apply on the chair. So what you will do, you will find out the what is the maximum weight of the person. Okay, so according to that, you will find out how much endurance should be present there with your chair, and then you will manufacture it. So for that, you have to define that your chair must tolerate, or that must withstand the weight of the person somewhere around 150 seat. Okay, and if I exaggerate it, I have to go for 200. Okay, so for 200 kg, your chair must withstand. So that 200 kg, you can call it as a standard. You are defining the rules or set of rules for manufacturing the chair. Similarly, for EMI and EMC, how much EMI can be tolerated? That is, there should be some standard, isn't it? In case of your mobile also, there is one number you have to dial. If you dial that number, it is actually giving you how much interference is radiated by your mobile. Okay, I think it is a star 123 hash. If you dial there, it is actually going to give you how much power is radiated from your mobile. And there are norms how much electromagnetic wave it can transmit, which will not be hazardous to the human body. Okay, like that there are some norms. Okay, so for the said testing, some norms are to be given, and these norms are called as standards. Okay, so let us start with the standards. Importance of the standards. The basically, what are the standards? Standards are established norm of an equipment or product, how the equipment should be. Okay, for any electric, electronic, any type of the equipment, what should be the norms of the equipment, those are given by the standards. Then these standards are formal documents which are established. Okay, and these establish uniform engineering, technical criteria, specifications, methods and processes. So that may be a technical criteria, that may be the specification, that may be methods, that may be process. For all these things, you are defining the standards. Standards means norms. Okay, now these standards, for what purpose these standards are used? These standards are used for equipment, product, organizations. So that the standards may be applied to the particular equipment, that may be applied to the particular product, that may be applied to the organization. Equipment means the things which are used in the laboratory for measurement or for assistance purposes, like your CRO, function generator. Okay, so that function generator should be manufactured according to some standards. Product may be your mobile, or that may be your laptop, that may be your any other device, that may be your earphone, anything. So for that product, what should be the standard norms? For that also standards are used. Then organizations, the organization may be your college also. whether the college is working up to the norms. For that also some standards are available there. So the standards are basically used for equipments, products and organizations. Then uh, what are the types of the standards? So there are the three types of the standards are there. One is specification standards are there. Okay, so this type of the standards specification, it is explicit set of requirements for an item, material, component, system or service. It is used for formalizing the technical aspects of the contract. Okay, so what should be the type of the product, that is given by the specification. Okay, like the weight of the mobile, what should be the screen of size of the mobile, like that. Then how much radiation should be present there with your mobile. Then whenever you are going to purchase the television, what should be the luminance, the light which is given by your television, that should not be hazardous to your eyes, isn't it? So for that you have to specify some norms for your equipment, that is called as the specifications. These are some standards are given for the specifications. Then the second type of the standard is test method. Okay, so this is the first type of the standard, this is the second type of the standard. Okay, test method means for many things, like if you are going for the if you are going to build any product for outdoor purpose, then it has to withstand many things. Like in open air, if you are going to put your equipment, then it is going to be exposed to the maximum heat or maximum sun rays. Then you have to test it according to that, or it has to go for highest temperature or lowest temperature. So how to check your product? For that you are having the testing. For those tests some standards are given. These are second type of the standards: a definite method which produces the test results, like standard guides for giving specific course of action. So for that another type of the standards are given. Then the third one, terminology. Okay, definition. Actually the definition type of the standard. Okay, so it is going to establish the terminology used and followed everywhere. It includes standard units used in science, mathematics, which are commonly accepted, like whenever you go for the speed of the vehicle, kilometer per hour. Okay, then weight, what are the standard units, you know, SI unit, uh, CGS unit, like that. There are, these are the type of the standards which are going for given for definitions or terminology used there. Okay, so 1 kg, when you say 1 kg, there is a one type, that 1 kg is universally known there for measurement of weight of any substance, isn't it? 1 kg, 1 milligram, 1 centigram, kilogram, like that. Similarly, 1 meter, how much is the 1 meter, how much is 1 kilometer, how much is 1 millimeter. So for these are the terminology which are used all over the world, and this is nothing but the standards which are given with the definitions. Okay, this was the first classification of the standards according to specification, test method and definition. Then this is second classification of the standards. Primary, there are primary standards, secondary standards, and third one is industry standards. Okay, primary standard, secondary standard and industry standards are there. Okay, so first one is the primary. In case of the primary standard, you might know that there are, so when I say 1 kg, So there is one laboratory somewhere in Switzerland where you are having one actually there is one substance or one substance is kept there which actually weighs exactly 1 kg. You know, weight is measured as mass into gravitational force, correct? So gravitational force is 9.8, it is taken there, and exactly that value is not same all over the world. It is only perfect at a one particular place in the world. Okay, so there you are getting exactly 1 kg there. So this is most accurate, traceable and well documented standard, which is called as the primary standard. Okay, now what happens whenever you go to the market, you are having you might have seen different weights like 1 kg, 2 kg, then 500 grams, 5 kg, like that. So when you have seen these, do you know that how they are standardized? So these weights, when they are manufactured, they have to be cross-checked with some laboratories. These laboratories are also having some standards, and these standards are also checked with respect to one standard all over the world. So that one standard all over the world is called as the primary standard. Okay, and it is usually under jurisdiction of a national standards body. Okay, you cannot take anything as 1 kg. So that whatever the weight you are using there as 1 kg, that must be a standard one. Okay, you have to test it. You have to compare it with some standard. Okay, and the universal, the highest one is the primary standard. Then there is a second type of the standard. It is nothing but secondary standard. Now secondary standard is, what is this? These are defined for the safety and protection of the equipment and products. So it is not as good as primary standard. It should not be very much accurate, but still it should be compatible. And it is basically used for safety and protection of the product. It is defined by safety and protection agencies. They are derived and developed taking into consideration many primary standards. And the last type of the standard is industry standard. So what happens in the industry standard? The process of establishing agreement on uniform identification for definite characteristics of equipment regarding their quality, design, performance, quantity, service, etc. So these are different norms for quality, design, performance, quantity, service, etc. Common and repeated use of rules, conditions, guidelines, or characteristics for products related to that industry. So actually you will find it bit more theoretical, but when we actually go to the standards, you will understand what do you mean by this. Okay, for example, there are different standards: EIA, Electronic Industry Association; AIAG, Automotive Industry Action Group. These are different industry related standards. You have to work on these standards. Now, these standards must be developed by some agencies. Okay, now these are categorized as national and international. So first we will go for the national standard. So single or recognized standard body is used here. So this is working nationwide. So for India there will be one body, that is a national standard body. It is actually it is actually developing the technical standards. Okay, for example, for India we are having a BIS. What is BIS? Bureau of Indian Standards. So Indian National Standard body is BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards. Manankan, it is something called as like राष्ट्रीय मानांकन. It is said like this. So what is this? This is a statutory organization which is used under the Department of Consumer Affairs, Department of Consumer Affairs, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Government India. So BIS is under Government area, Government of India, and that is related to the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. So BIS is giving you the mark for that product. Your product must be marked with BIS. So whenever it is having the stamp of BIS, it means it is up to that standard. So this is the national level body for the standards, BIS. So what is the job of the BIS? It formulates Indian standards. It provides product and management system related certification. It supports product testing. It acts as an inquiry point for World Trade Organization. So it is now BIS is connected to WTO, World Trade Organization. So they are following some norms from WTO, and it is also used for import training. So if you want to train the staff for a particular procedure, for that also BIS markings are done. So we have seen BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, and how it works. Then we will go to the next point, international standards. Okay, so national standard is BIS, that is the organization which is developing different standards. The second one is the international standard, which is so the international standards, these provide reference framework or a common technological language between suppliers and consumers. In a simple language, they are providing some rules for suppliers as well as consumers. Okay, and they are developing international standards. Okay, for example, these are different international standards are there. You are familiar with ISO. Our institute is also ISO certified. We are following ISO norms. So you can say that institution is also having some standard norms there. Okay, so ISO, it's an international organization for standardization. So they are having specific norms which must be followed to comply to ISO standard. Then the second one is IEC. It is International Electrotechnical Commission. This is another type of the international standard organization. ITU, International Telecommunication Union. They are also specifying the standards specifically for telecommunication equipment like your mobile, switches, routers, hubs. For many things, ITU is giving you different standards there. Then WTO, World Trade Organization. So these are some typical, you can say, the group of standards which are giving you some norms related to equipment, test and other things. Okay, then so we will see some typical list of standards. One is the ISO and OSI standards, then IP, NEMA, NEMA, CE, UL and IEC. We will go through all these standards: ISO, IP, NEMA, CE, UL and IEC. So what is ISO? ISO is nothing but International Organization for Standardization. It's an international organization for standardization. Okay, what is this? It is International Organization for Standardization. Okay, it is actually the network of 163 countries. Okay, so ISO is in that group you are actually having 163 countries there. Okay, and it is having central secretariat in Geneva, Switzerland, that coordinates with the system. Okay, then ISO is NGO. NGO means what? It is non-governmental organization, that it forms the bridge between public and private sectors. Okay, and it is actually a developer and publisher of international standards. So ISO it develops and publishes international standards. It is having its central secretariat at Geneva, Switzerland, and it is NGO. Okay. So what actually the ISO does? It addresses quality management. Okay. It means it fulfills consumers or customers quality requirements applicable to regulatory requirements, while uh, aiming to enhance customer satisfaction and achieve continual improvement of its performance. So it's a quality management. You have to improve your performance, and how to improve that performance, that is given by different standards there. So we will see now some typical so what actually it contains, that is given by this series there. So there are different series are given, like ISO 9000 series. So we will see different ISO 9000 series standards. These are typically ISO 9001, 9002, 9003, 9004 and 14000. So 5 are there. For what purpose these 5 standards are used, that we will see here. So the first one is ISO 9001. So what ISO 9001? It is a model for quality assurance in design, development, production, installation and servicing for companies and organizations whose activities included creation of new product. So any company which is creating a new product, for that there are different stages given there: design, development, production, installation and servicing. These are 5 stages in working of the product there. So any company, whenever it is going to actually build the product and sell the product, these are the steps there: design, development, production, installation and servicing. So how you can maintain the quality in all these steps in the company working is given by ISO 9001. So ISO 9001 standard is used for all these things: design, development, production, installation and servicing. Okay, then the second one is ISO 9002. Okay, this is the second standard, which is used in contractual situation where you are going for only production and installation. So this standard is specifically related to production and installation. So this is the first one and this is the second one. So for that ISO 9002 is used. The third one is ISO 9003. It is used for, actually it is available for final testing and inspection of the product. ISO 9003 is used for final testing and inspection of the product. Then ISO 9004, it contains guidelines for uh, technical administration and human factor that affects the quality of the product and services. This standard is for internal use only. So this is used for technical administration and human factor that affects the quality of the product and services. Okay, and the last standard which we are going to see in the ISO is, remember this is international standard organization, don't confuse it with Indian, it's international. 14,000. Yeah, ISO 14,000 is used for environmental management. Okay, so you have to remember this correspondence of which standard is used for which purpose. Okay, so specifically for environmental management, ISO 14000 is used to minimize harmful effects on the environment caused by its activities. For that, ISO 14000 is used, and it achieves continual improvement of its environmental performance. Okay, so it is used actually to improve the environmental performance. So this is a newly developed standard which takes into consideration global warming there, or whatever the effects of the industrialization are there on the world environment. So for that, this standard is developed, ISO 14000. Okay. Then the next one is IP. Okay. So what is IP? IP is the international protection. So we know that for this is the third type of the standard. So in the IP, what we know is that second one we are saying there. So here, this is actually used for the protection. Protection means whenever you are building an equipment or any product, you are having some enclosures there. So what should be the norms for those enclosures? For that, IP standard is used. Okay, so it's an international protection standard. Um, so these are typical IP standards are given there. IP0, IP40, IP52, IP66, IP61 and IP68. So what is IP0? IP0 is related to the PCB. Okay, what is the significance and application of this IP0? This is specifically giving the norms for PCB without box. So whenever you want to develop the PCB without box, what should be the norms followed by your PCB? That is specified under IP00. Next is IP40. It is giving what actually it does. Less than 5 mm body can enter inside. So we are talking about the enclosures now. Enclosures means metal box which is used for your product or your equipment. It must be for the enclosures used in laboratory equipment. So for the laboratory equipment, there should not be a gap greater than 5 mm. Otherwise, what will happen? But the body which is greater than 5 mm can enter it. So this is the norm set by IP40 for the enclosure. Then the next one is IP52. IP52 is used for the sheltered equipment. Sheltered equipment means the equipment which are to be kept inside the protected things, like inside the house, inside the industry they are kept. They are not exposed to harsh environmental uh, condition. So for that, what should be the norms for that enclosure? For that, IP52 is used. IP66 is used for outdoor equipment. So now when you talk about the outdoor equipment, you are going to keep it, you are going to expose it to the extreme environmental conditions like uh, sun rays, heat, rain, snow, anything for it should face all these things, or it will be exposed to all these things. So for the outdoor equipment, what should be the norms? Those are given by IP66. It states that enclosure is fully sealed. So it is expected that it should be fully sealed. For example, you can see the transformers used for distribution purpose, for MSCB or your any electricity board. For the distribution purpose, you are using the transformers. Transformers are kept outside always. They are not kept inside. So when they are installed, they have to be perfectly sealed so that they will not be affected by rain or any other type of the hazards there. Okay, so for that, what should be the norm? How it should be designed, that is given by IP66. Then IP61 and 68, these are basically used for to be used in underwater equipments. For the underwater equipment, it is for the enclosures used in complete underwater application, and 68 is specifically used for submarine. So if you want to install anything in the submarine that is different from your laboratory, you have to take extra care there. Okay, again in the underwater application also. If you want to use something under the sea for some marine applications or for any other thing, you have to go for IP61 and IP68. So these are international protection standards for equipment enclosures. Okay, the metal body which you are using there. So for those enclosures, these standards are given there. Then the next type of the standards are NEMA standards, NEMA. So what is NEMA? NEMA is nothing but National Electrical Manufacturers Association. NEMA, National Electrical Manufacturers Association. There are two widely used standards. The national standard for enclosure in the US, that was established by NEMA, National Electric Manufacturer Association. The international standard for enclosures, that was established by IEC, International Electric Codes. International Electric Codes. So we will see different NEMA standards. The first one is NEMA 4. So NEMA 4 is actually related to, this is related to the wind blown dust, rain and hose pipe directed water. So if you are going to use your equipment for such things, this is used for actually indoor and outdoor electrical equipment cabinet or enclosures. Okay, so for indoor as well as outdoor electrical equipment, how much dust, how much rain or how much water it should withstand, for that these standards are specified, NEMA 4. Okay, then the next one is NEMA AX. Okay, NEMA AX is also used, this is the second type of the standard. This is used for wind blown or dust, rain, for, okay, so it is used for wind blown dust, rain and hose pipe directed water as well as for corrosive atmosphere. So for that this standard is specified. This is also used like a DP transmitter. I have told you, DP transmitter or transformer, for that, for electrical equipment cabinet or enclosures used in hazardous areas. So for hazardous area, if you are going to develop the equipment, how to use that, for that NEMA AX is used. Then the next one is NEMA 12. This is also used for dust, falling dirt and dripping non-corrosive liquids. So it may be a something different environment, for that, for how your equipment should work, for that NEMA 12 is used. This is used at site but non-hazardous area. So specifically this is for enclosures which are used on the site but non-hazardous area. And the NEMA 13 is not only for all the sites, hazardous as well as non-hazardous. It is dust, spraying water, oil, non-corrosive liquids, anything will be there. In that, if you are going to put your equipment, how it should be manufactured or how the closures should be, enclosures should be used. Enclosure म्हणजे तुमचं काय असतं, metal body which is going to cover your product. So for that the norms are given under NEMA 13. So this is a standard used there. Okay, then we will go to the next one, CE. Okay, CE is nothing but this is another type of the marking used there. This is used in the European countries. It's a conformity mark for products in European countries. It certifies that a product has met EU, that is European Union. EU means European Union. It has met European Union consumer safety, health, or environmental requirements. It should not be hazardous to the consumer, the operator. It should be safe to work. It should not affect the health of the consumer, and neither it should affect the environment. Okay, it should not produce, like, it should not pollute the world like that. So for that, this standard is given, CE markings are given. So what it consisting of? It actually consisting of declaration of conformity. So what is the declaration of conformity? It is the attestation of the conformity with all relevant information about the manufacturer's details, essential characteristics of the product complies, and the European standard and performance data. So it's a just declaration of conformity that your product meets the given requirements. Okay, so for that it is given there. This is the mark of the CE. Okay, it means CE means conformite European. Okay, conformite European. It means European conformity. The CE marking is used in all European Union official documents. The CE logo must be at least 5 mm high. The logo must not be modified. The CE marketing on a product indicates to governmental officials that the product can be legally placed on the market in their country. The CE marking on a product ensures the free movement of the product within the EFTA and European Union single market. So for that, CE marking is used. Then the next one is UL marking, that is Underwater Laboratories Incorporation. It is used in US and Canada. It develops the standards and test procedures, as well as it evaluates the products, components, materials and systems for compliance to specific requirements. It is having three categories: UL listed, UL recognized and UL classified. UL listed is given for the products under listing services. UL recognized, it is used, first one is UL listed, second is the UL recognized. It is used for components acceptable for use in the product, and the third one is UL classified, and it is used for specific hazard or properties. So for that, UL marking and classification is used. So we will stop here. IEC standards we will see in the next lecture. So students,